We're live. Haha. The end is near. Got my foils on. Got my foils on. Just kidding. The end is near to my construction project. Not the end of the world. Trying to bring some humor into this. Everything's so serious right now. Got to bring a little laugh into the world. I'm partaking. The stock in the refrigerator is getting raided. It's been a long week. It was a bad day at work today. Craziness, insanity going on at work, right? Let's talk about Sabers. Let's talk about something positive. The funny part is NeoPixels are on backlog. Connectors are on backlog. I mean, there's just no parts out there right now. I understand Illum's out of key power batteries, so it's kind of funny. There's all these guys building their Sabers going, I can't even get parts. And I'm like, yeah, well, welcome to the coronavirus. But I got some Sabers fixed up this week. This is a repair job of one of my installs, and it's all fixed and functioning again. It helps when people don't disassemble my work. When people disassemble my work and rip out wires, and the buttons don't work anymore. But it's all repaired, back in the same condition it was when I sent it off, for the most part. And got another one repaired this week, which wasn't mine, and another one repaired, which was. Now I got to get them out in the mail, but mostly now I've got to work on some MyComs tonight, but that's after I have another coat of paint to put on one of the ceilings. But the good news is one of the bathrooms and one of the bedrooms is totally done, and I'm working on my laundry room now. I got one coat of paint on the ceiling, got another one to put there. I got sick last week, not with COVID. I got tested for strep and flu, and all clear, no COVID, no strep, no flu. But any Padawan killer. Yeah, I'm doing a conversion on one of those Macs. This is a buddy of mine's, and he's deployed with the United States Army right now, but this is his Youngling Slayer right here. So I'm actually doing a conversion on a Youngling Slayer as we speak. Pretty easy job. Lots of fun working on those master replica hilts. They're a lot of fun. But I got sick last week, and I was sick all weekend. Sick Monday, Tuesday. Tuesday night started feeling better. Wednesday, definitely feeling 100%. Thursday, I went back to work. Got a lot done around the house last weekend. Played lawnmower repairman. Actually made some parts to fix the lawnmower since the parts store was closed. That was interesting. Some lightsaber skills came into play there. I actually broke one of the I was changing the lawnmower blades in the deck belt on a riding lawnmower, and actually broke one of the deck stanchions that puts tension on the front of the deck to keep the front of the deck up off the ground. And the only store you can get that stanchion from is closed because of coronavirus. So I actually went to Home Creepo and got some threaded rod and used my vise and some heat and some bending, and basically manufactured my own part to fix the riding lawnmower. Got it fixed and mowed my jungle of a lawn, which has gotten out of control because even though it was wintertime here in North Carolina, we really didn't have much of a winter here. It kind of stayed warm all through the winter. Thanks, Max. It kind of stayed warm all through the winter, and the weeds and the grass in my yard. I'm on almost a full acre of land. It grew up. It was crazy, and I've been doing all these chores in the house and building Sabers and MyComs, and didn't get a chance to get out there and mow. So I knocked down the weeds this week. Hey, Enoch Root. Happy Quarantine Monday. I got a drinking problem. I just wasted some Guinness there. Mm. Good Lord. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Work's been kind of crazy, as y'all can imagine. And the funny thing is, it's not crazy as in like, the stuff we normally deal with. Hey, Tim, good to see you. You know, Tim's kind of isolated because he lives on an island in the Chesapeake Bay. And hopefully your island's stay in the clear, Tim. Keep the tourists out, at least for about a month. Oh, man. But, had a pretty good weekend, got a lot of work done. When I finished with y'all tonight, when I closed down this live stream, I got to go sand sheetrock and put another coat of paint on the laundry room ceiling, and then paint the laundry room walls, and then paint the second bathroom, which I did a total remodel on. But yeah, I'm nearing the end of the home renovation projects, and it's a good thing because I'm tired of living in a construction site. This room is like the only untouched room in the house, and I'm not redoing anything in this room. This room will be fine. It'll be fine. There's nothing wrong with this room. It's staying as it is. But yeah. What else? What other news have we? Oh yeah. That's one of my that's the brass flagship. It's installed. I couldn't resist. And it was like a easy install, it only took me like maybe an hour to install it. It was relatively easy job. Those flagships with the Smuggler's Outpost chassis. Oh yeah, I know. That thing is nuts. And it just doesn't come out on video, but it's just insane. The etch on that is crazy. It doesn't show up as good on the brass as it does on the aluminum. The aluminum one shows up a lot better. Let me go see if I can get the aluminum one. Stand by. Find the aluminum one. Got so many projects going on. Oh, there she blows. Oh yeah. So the brass, the etch doesn't show as good as it does on the aluminum one. Here's the aluminum one. The etch is much more defined on the aluminum one. Freaking thing is awesome. This one's not installed. It's totally empty still. I haven't done nothing with it. But yeah, those flagships are freaking awesome. Yeah, this was Pete Sandoval Max from Pete's Powder Emporium. He did the etching on these. Yeah, you know what? I wasn't either. I was kind of like, that's kind of a boring hilt. But once you do the etch on them and some leather wrap, I mean, that's like a high dollar saber right there. That's nice. No way, Max. These are mine. Mine! The truck is mine. The boat is mine. Ooh, no, touch my boat. Lost a couple sabers there. Oh, and I got my Teensy Saber Graflex. This is the TFA Ray Graflex with full shine through. This is actually Teensy Saber V3, which I've got it uploaded with the latest OS, which is still working on Teensy Saber, which is awesome. I guess it's crazy watching all these guys that are frustrated with the parts right now. Everybody hang in there. The supply lines will open back up. Hopefully this mess will all be over with soon. All around, it's stressful. It's stressful on people's lives and families and the economy. It's horrible. Let's hope it ends as quickly as possible with as few deaths as possible. And as you can see, I'm here by my selfies. We're isolating, socially isolating, and you know, which I can't do at work, which stinks. But at any rate, yeah, once I finish with all the projects around here, hopefully we'll get back into saber building here in fairly short order. That's why I put up the end is near sign. The end of the construction fiasco at my house is near. And then I can sell this house and be in business. We'll be in business. What have y'all been doing during the chaos? I know Max has been doing some Facebook Live videos, and it seems like everybody's kind of helping to avoid the crazy train. Look, I have connectors. I got more than that too. The funny thing is I foresaw a shortage, not because of coronavirus, but when the rise of Skywalker was coming out, I was like, man, as soon as this movie hits theaters, people are going to be buying stuff to build NeoPixel lightsabers. So I stocked up on NeoPixel adapters before. Oh yeah. That's the way of it right now. Imagine how Max feels down under. You know, it's crazy getting stuff to Australia anyway. Can you imagine how bad it is now? Although Australia is close to China, but I'm guessing Australia probably is not accepting any ships in from China. I don't know. Australia is usually pretty strict about sealing off their borders when stuff like this going on. That's the one big advantage to Australia, is they're so isolated they can kind of help quarantine themselves. Yeah, I figured. Yeah, I mean everything's going to take a while to ship. I mean, you know, the U.S. is still closed off. I got a package that needs to go out to Hong Kong, and you know, United States is still not allowing shipping to Hong Kong or China. Uh, so those packages that need to go to China and Hong Kong are still on hold. So I've got 2 Sabers here that are going to need to go to Hong Kong, and I got 2 more. Hell, by the time they reopen shipping, I may have 4 lightsabers that need to go to Hong Kong. I have 2 Vader's Vault Sabers I've got to reinstall. And all that, yeah, well, I got some pixel strips in that were supposed to come in January a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, they were supposed to come in January. And now that they came in and they're the wrong strips, that was really frustrating. Everybody's frustrated with that right now. This will all go away eventually. It's pretty frustrating. Certainly a lesson that this global economy that we're in is certainly tough. Can be pretty tough. Yeah, you know, I think this kind of all lends itself to us trying to figure out a way to. Yeah, I know. I think it all adds up to we need to find a way to manufacture stuff that we really need in our own countries. So when something like this happens, we don't have to go without major stuff. Not like prop electronic stuff is major stuff. I'm not talking about that. You know, I mean, lightsabers can wait until all this is over with. So it's kind of the timing on all this for me was really good because it allowed me to get a lot of construction done. And most people that, you know, have jobs waiting with me or want to commission me for Sabers know that all that's going on. So, you know, right now is a tough time to get a lightsaber. But I think while all this is going on, I think what's going to happen is when the curtain finally lifts, everything's just going to explode, and you're going to have so much stuff coming in. I think Cal just got his secret Sabers in, which I'm not even going to mention what they are, but they came in and he's doing quality control checks on them right now, and I'm pretty excited about that. Cal's got a lot of stuff going on. He's got a lot of stuff in the pipeline. Between the Verso and the hilts he's coming out with, you know, Cal Jerome is on fire. He's in fuego. He is really killing it right now. But yeah, you know, I have maybe maybe 2 or 3 more weeks of work here, and then I can start normalizing my life again. And which I know, one of my business partners is excited because there's a lot of demand for MyComs right now, and he wants to get started in on another run. But I have a lot of Sabers to build here too. So yeah, yeah. We're not going to mention that because I'm sure. So the problem with his Sabers, Enoch Root, is like the OWK when he came out with that, it was a fantastic hilt. I wish I would have been able to get one. They sold out in like 5 minutes. But the reason they sold out so quick is because large U.S. suppliers like Corbanth bought them in bulk. It wasn't like individual people buying all those Sabers. Corbanth pretty much took the whole lot of them off his hands. So the OWK that Corbanth is selling is KR Sabers. Corbanth's got a lot of that going on, since he kind of parted ways with Parks, um, which is kind of sad because I kind of have a fondness for the Graflex 2.5 as far as a fairly inexpensive, very sturdy, hilt. I like the Parks Corbanth Graflex 2.5 / custom saber shop. They were all manufactured basically in the same lots. So whether you bought the Graflex 2.5 from Corbanth or the custom saber shop or Parks, they were all, Graflex 2.5s. It's all the same kit. So I'm kind of going to miss those kits. I think they were a lot of fun to install and they were tough. I've got a replica Graflex from the Graflex shop that's going to go into a New Hope. Well, Tim, you know, yeah, I know. We need to. I need to get up there to the bay. I already told Jen that we need to get up there to the bay and hook up with you to go artifact hunting and maybe get me a couple of points. And if I can't find any, I'll bring some Megtooth to exchange for some points. And as far as Sabers go, Tim, find you a hilt that you like and either get on a waiting list for it or get it, and keep your empty hilt handy, and I can install it quickly. So that's definitely on the agenda. Definitely want to get out there and check out some of the artifact hunting you're doing in the islands. Take care, Tim, and keep your head low and stay away from tourists. And don't let tourists in your house. Show them all your pictures. Keep them at bay. But yeah, hopefully we can all get back to normal soon. But yeah, I got a lot of projects in the works, and can't really get a lot of them done until. Oh yeah, I'm pretty good at finding stuff, Tim. I mean, stuff that's not natural usually sticks out like a sore thumb to me. I mean, not natural as in they don't fit. Things that don't fit the surrounding strata. We'll see you, Tim. But yeah, hopefully when all this is over with and everything starts normalizing and we can get parts, we can get back to building stuff and you know working on stuff. Hey, I have something I want to talk about today. Do I have an anti-conversion video? I haven't done like a how-to video on how to convert the Anakin, but I've got some videos. I think 2 of them out there on Anakin sabers that I have converted. Um, they're actually easy to convert. What do you what do you what are you having problems with on there, Max? I mean, I can show you some quick things to do. So yeah, I'm whipping out the multimeter. The multimeter is the main theme tonight. I know y'all thought I was probably going to talk about coronavirus all night long, but I'm not going to. So this is the hill completely disassembled. There's nothing in there, totally empty. When you take it apart, on the battery sled, you have to make sure you save the pommel insert that goes on the back of the battery sled, because if you don't, you're going to have an empty pommel like that. So you want to save that battery insert, which goes inside of the pommel like that. That's important. That's one tip on the conversion. Oh, how to take it apart? Yeah, there's tutorials on that on the Custom Saber Shop's website. If you stand by, I'll post a link to the tutorial that I think Shameen put up there on disassembling these, but they're pretty easy. The main thing is you got to take the clamp card off the top of the clamp so you can get to the screws that hold the clamp down. And once you get those screws that hold the clamp down, you know that's just loose on the hilt. And then you take the battery sled out, but you have to remember when you take the battery sled out to save that pommel insert that's on the back of the battery sled. Otherwise, you'll have an empty, hollow pommel like that. And then all the rest, pretty much I replace. So this is a custom Saber Shop conversion kit for the Graflex and the Anakin killers. And I do this paint on here like this. And I'll show you why in a second. But this is the top button slot. And another thing I'll do is I'll Dremel a wire channel from this top button slot, and I'll show you why here in a bit. But basically the insert goes in just like that, and you can see why I paint it like that. And it gives you your black recesses on the Graflex recesses. But then where the old gold button was, which you have to pry that off, like here's the old gold button bezel. I replaced this with a Graflex 2.5 button bezel with a functioning button in it, and the wires run through that channel that I cut in the top of the conversion kit. Yeah. And then this switch I totally kill. I don't even use it. You can use this as a kill switch. You know, you can use this to cut power or whatever, but I don't use this to turn on the blade anymore. The activation I put on the red button up here, but I actually paint the button gold. And then the gold button that goes on the underside, it goes on the underside. Stand by. It goes right here like this. You pry that off. It's glued in. There is a screw on the underside of the button, so you can pry this gold button out of there, and then there's a screw that holds this plastic piece in. But you can get this new gold button at Ultra Sabers. I think they sell it. Yeah, you can get Ultra Sabers actually sells those gold buttons that work on that. So you can just replace that gold button. And then I take the Graflex 2.5 button bezel, or you can even buy a button bezel from the Graflex shop and just use that to reach down to a button inside the hilt. So there's tons of ways you can do that. But if you use that red button or gold button for the activation, you do have to cut a wire channel in the top of the conversion kit. Oh yeah, the where the Graflex red button is. So like here's a Graflex, and this red button, this is what I use for activation. It's activation on this one too. But basically what I do is I take this button bezel apart and I paint this button gold. And that's what I use for activation, is the actual real Graflex bezel. Now, I want to get into talking about multimeters. A lot of guys are building without a multimeter, and a multimeter can really help you do a lot of things. But there's one function on the multimeter. If you only learn how to use this one function, it will save your butt. And it's continuity. It's the audio continuity test. And on mine, it's there. You can see it's got like a audible continuity thing. And what it is when you touch these probes, you get a tone. So where that comes in handy is you can take these probes and you can probe between various positive and negative things without power on the saber and make sure that you don't have any shorts, reverse polarity between positive and negative. You can also check voltage. Once you learn how to use some advanced features, you can test forward voltage. You can test battery voltage. A multimeter, if you're building lightsabers, you need one. If you're trying to build a lightsaber without a multimeter, you're making a huge mistake. So Lesson number one is buy a good digital multimeter and learn how to use the audible continuity test. You can test if your wire is good. So you can hold one probe on one end of your wire and one probe on the other end of the wire, and you should have a tone because you should have continuity in that string. You can test between things that you know should not have continuity, like there should be no continuity between negative and positive, anything. If there's continuity between negative and positive anything, you have a short. And then you need to start isolating where that short is at with that audible continuity test. But the multimeter is a huge, huge tool for diagnosing shorts and diagnosing wires that aren't working. Like, say, like you have a switch that's not working. Well, you can take that switch out and test from the switch to the board and from the switch to the board to make sure both your switch wires are, have continuity in them, that they're continuous or they're not broken. And then if you have continuity on your switch wires, maybe you have a bad switch. Then you can hold the plunge, you hold the probes on your switch and depress the switch, and you should get a continuity tone when you depress the switch. That's how you can diagnose a bad switch. So it's just really handy learning how to test for continuity with the audible continuity test on a digital multimeter. I think that's an invaluable skill to have. And once you kind of get the idea of how it works and what should have continuity and what doesn't, it helps diagnosing problems go much quicker. I know a lot of guys try to take their Sabers apart and look at things with magnifying glasses and go straight to the volt multimeter. That's what I do. How do you test a recharge port? Well, Max, I did a video about that. So on a recharge port, let's get a recharge port out. So I've got a bunch of different kinds of recharge ports here. Oh, lightsabers keep falling. Like here's a 12 millimeter, 2.1 millimeter recharge port. I'll set that out there. And I should have a switchcraft in here, which I do. So there's a switchcraft recharge port with the 3 legs on it. And then, yeah, I know the Sabers keep falling out of the sky. And then we have these really little 1.3 millimeter recharge ports, which also have 3 legs on them. And then I should have my handy dandy adapter in here somewhere for testing the 1.3 millimeter ports. And that's okay if I don't. I don't know where it's at, but basically what I do is I'll take a charger. I don't know where my 1.3 millimeter adapter is, but I take my Saber charger and I'll plug my Saber charger into these ports. And then I'll take the multimeter, stand by. Need a Saber charger. There's that. That's not my adapter. I got my Saber charger, so stand by. Let me see if I can find my adapter. Because I thought it was in there, but it's not in there. It's not in that drawer. Oh well, we can do all the other ones. I wasn't prepared to talk about this today, but I can show you how to do the 2.1 millimeter test. So yeah, we'll show you how to test the switchcraft. So I'm plugging in my charger. There's my charger. Got the 2.1 millimeter port on it. I'm going to plug it in to my recharge port. Then I'm going to take my handy dandy multimeter and I'm going to select DC volts 9 volts. DC volts 9 volts. That's where I'm selected right here. And then I'm going to take my probes. And I'm going to put my alligator clips on my probes. Just like this. I actually have a video out on this, Max, on a recharge port video. And once I get my probes, I know that the center pin is positive. So I'm going to look at the thing, and I know that center pin is positive, so I'm going to connect the red probe to that center pin. Now, I don't know which of these pins is the battery negative and which of them is the cutoff leg. I'm going to set up my multimeter up here, so hopefully y'all will be able to see it. So what we're looking for in the multimeter that we have on volts is we're looking for voltage. So I'm going to connect my black lead onto the leg that has Switchcraft logo on it. Nothing, no volts. There's no volts there. So now I'm going to connect it to the other leg. I have my positive connected to the center pin leg, and now I'm going to connect my black to this other leg. Oh, looky there. We got voltage. We got voltage showing. So I know on this recharge port, the center pin is my positive, and this pin without the Switchcraft logo is my negative that goes to my battery. That means this other leg is shut off when it's plugged into a charger. This leg is the negative that goes to your soundboard. So I hope that explains to you quickly how to do it live. But basically, yeah, you can take a multimeter and a Saber charger and test your recharge ports, and that works for any recharge port, whether it's one of these 12 millimeter Saber Forge jobbies, or if it's a 1.3 millimeter recharge port like this, same concept. Generally, the center pin is always going to be positive, and you can use your continuity tester to find which one is the center pin. But that's the easy way to test all recharge ports with a multimeter. That's another handy dandy use for a multimeter, is in finding which leg is which on a recharge port. And the funny thing is I've done so many of these, I don't even have to test them anymore because I know which leg is which. Like on these 12 millimeter jobbies, this leg that has all the metal on it, I know that's positive, and this one is negative, and this is the cutoff leg. And on this, the bottom leg is positive, and this one is negative, and this is the cutoff leg. But I know how all three of those recharge ports are laid out, and the reason is because I test them with a multimeter. So anybody that says, you know, hey, start building Sabers and don't use a multimeter, that's all a bunch of electro mumbo jumbo. They're full of it. You know, they're wearing the foils. They're wearing the foils. You know, you gotta use that multimeter. Uh-oh. Might have a message from Jen or something. Oh, Lord. Yep. Yep. Got all that going. But at any rate, yeah, I know. You like the foils? When I play hockey, I put foils on my hands. At any rate, there's my foils. But yeah, you can use a multimeter for tons of stuff when you're building lightsabers. And they just really, really come in handy. It's an invaluable tool. Why anybody would build a lightsaber without one is beyond me. You got to have a multimeter. I don't know where my adapter went. I got to find that thing. But yeah, recharge ports, testing them with a multimeter. There's all the recharge ports. So it's, you know, a lot of fun. There's a guy right now, and he's on the open source Saber groups, and he's like, well, I had a short and I blew out a MOSFET, and, you know, I don't know why the MOSFET blew. So he rewired his NeoPixel adapter to new MOSFETs without diagnosing where his shorts were. The problem with wiring to the new MOSFETs before you diagnose for shorts is those MOSFETs, that they blew for a reason. They melted. There's a reason those MOSFETs melted. It's either a poorly soldered NeoPixel adapter or a NeoPixel adapter that's out of alignment, and you've got, you know, reverse polarity going on. And if you don't find where that short is at before you reconnect to the new MOSFETs, guess what's going to happen to your new MOSFETs? And everybody's like, oh, well, you know, Profi, that's not Profi, that's Teensy Saber. I know I have a burn up Profi here somewhere. Yeah. There's a story behind this Profi. This Profi here, this was the beta Profi 1.5. It gave up the ghost. And you know, these are the MOSFETs here we're talking about. One of his MOSFETs was melted. So now he's put his blade adapter on the other ones that are good, and that's fine. Oh yeah, thanks, Tim. But these MOSFETs, if you fried them, why would you hook up the same thing that fried the other one to your new ones? Because if all you've done is burn up a MOSFET and you have a simple saber, you don't need the other MOSFETs. So you can use them if you burn one of them out. But don't use the new ones until you find out why the old one burnt. The old one burnt because either there's a short in the blade, there's a short in the blade adapter, there's a short in the NeoPixel adapter or the hilt adapter, or there's improper alignment between the hilt adapters and the blade adapters. And on his saber, I know he's got 2 blade adapters and 2 hilt adapters because it's a thin neck, and he used the blade adapters to be able to disconnect the thin neck from each other. So he's got, you know, 4 potential points for short circuits. And to me, you gotta test and make sure, you know. And how I would do that was I would do a continuity test, and on the positive and the negative line coming out of the NeoPixel adapter, I would hook the positive lead to the red line, and I hope it's red, and the negative lead to the negative line. I use black, and I would put it in continuity mode, and I would sit there and adjust the saber in and out and see if I ever got continuity between those hilt adapters and blade adapters. And then I would insert the blade and see if I got continuity when I inserted the blade. And if I never got continuity on those lines, no matter what I did with the saber, then I know I can probably rule out the hilt adapter and the blade adapter, which is a simple 5-minute safety feature to keep from burning, you know, those MOSFETs out on your Profis. You know, burning MOSFETs is bad. But yeah, you know, the NeoPixel adapters, the pads are awfully dangerously close to one another, and even just a square, you know, little piece of hair solder between the two is enough to hose your MOSFETs. That could be a bad day for you. So you always want to check that with a multimeter, and you know, you just got to learn to check this stuff with a multimeter. But at any rate, that's that about multimeters and MOSFETs and checking for shorts. I think checking for shorts. Yeah, I clean with isopropyl alcohol because it gets rid of all the flux, and some flux can actually conduct electricity. So you don't want any loose conductive material on your circuit board, on your printed circuit board. You don't want any of that crap out there. So yeah, the isopropyl helps clean the flux off. It also gives you a nice clean surface where you can see, you know, wires, you know, wires, some stranded wire we use, like say like you didn't get all the strands, you know, neatly twisted and tinned, and one of the strands was sticking out of one of the wires and making contact with one of the poles that shouldn't be. There's your short. You know, and maybe you wouldn't have been able to see that unless you cleaned it up with isopropyl. But yeah, that's important too. You know, cleaning with isopropyl, inspecting all your solders, and then checking with a multimeter, because the multimeter may find something you couldn't see with the naked eye. Now, I have had one custom Saber shop NeoPixel hilt adapter that was shorting on receipt. The positive and negative, there was some kind of defect in the traces or something when that board was printed, and I found it with a multimeter, and I disconnected all the wires and still had a short on the brand new board, and I'm like, hey, it's done. Tossed it, you know, before I even hooked it up. And you know, that preventative measure saved me a huge headache, you know. That's the only one I've ever checked that had, continuity between negative and positive. Might have been a misprint, could have been a foobar, could have been a bad cut. Who knows? But it was bad right out of the box. Yeah, and if you've watched my blade building videos, I use a Prism 5.5 as my test rig for NeoPixels, and I test like mad. I test with a multimeter before I throw juice to anything, and then I test with the Prism, and then when I put the strips back to back, I test again. And then when I put the heat shrink on the strips, I test again. Then when I add the cellophane, I test again. And when I put it in the foam, I test again. And then I put it in the blade, and then I test again. Max, there's cheap ways you don't need a Prism 5.5 for a test rig. You can get a cheap $5 NeoPixel controller, and that's all you need. You need a cheap NeoPixel controller. Those things, sometimes some of the strips you buy will come with one. They're cheap. They're like $5. The testers are actually cheaper than the strips. So, keep your eye out for a cheap NeoPixel controller, and you can just plug that into the strips, and bada bing, bada boom, you're off on a mission without even, needing to sacrifice. I've got so many Saber soundboards. I could use a Teensy Saber as a tester. I could use Prism, Nano Biscotti. Uh, I need to sell some of these soundboards. I probably need to, probably wouldn't be a bad idea for me to go ahead and post up a lot of these right now when the shipping is slow. So I might be able to get more money for them now than when things return to normal. But I have tons of soundboards. That's what happens when people ship their Sabers to me and they're like, gut this thing and put a Profi in it. I'm like, okay, well, there's nothing wrong with this Prism. Nope, I want a Profi. Okay. And then I pull the Prism out and I'm like, what do you want to do with your board? And they're like, nothing. And so I've got tons of soundboards that I've ripped out of people's Sabers that they wanted Profi or Teensy Saber in. So then nothing's wrong with all these soundboards. They're perfectly fine. So Max, that's why my test rig is a Prism. It was a board that came out of another Saber, and I use it as a test rig. It's awesome. It was just easy peasy Japanesey for me, but you don't need that. You just need an inexpensive NeoPixel driver. That's it. A controller. Yep. So that's another way around that problem. Dang, also more people will be bored and log on, but that's okay. Because I gotta go do sheetrock work and everything anyway. So, and then after I finish sheetrock, I got to do some Micom work tonight. So I've got plenty of work to do around here. Just wanted to check in with y'all, especially since I missed live last week, and talk about stuff. No, Guinness didn't run out. I just opened a fresh soldier. Life is good. Yeah, that'll be about it for the Guinness tonight. I heard Guinness can chase off coronavirus. Yeah, I still only have 3 rolls of toilet paper left. I went to the grocery store tonight and they had everything in stock, everything except toilet paper. And I was like, son of a bitch, these people are still freaking going nuts over toilet paper. Toilet paper is not a life essential thing. Toilet paper is a luxury. You know what I mean? If I had to, you know, I have washcloths. I would rather not get to that point. But there's people with a gazillion rolls of toilet paper in their house hoarding that shit. And I saw some meme saying, it was like aliens looking on Earth, and it said all the people are dead, but they sure have clean asses. That's so true. But yeah, it's really frustrating, the toilet paper thing in the USA. Is it like that in Australia, Max? Are they like buying all the toilet paper? I think that's kind of the media. It could be. It pisses me off. Um, I mean, I buy supplies, you know, because we get hurricanes here in Wilmington, North Carolina, and I usually keep at least a week's worth of emergency rations on hand. I have an above ground pool in my backyard that's an emergency water supply if I really need it, because I have well and septic. So when I lose power, I don't have water. So you can't even flush your toilets. But since I got the swimming pool in the backyard and I need to flush my toilet, I can go fill up a 5-gallon bucket and bring it in and dump it in the reservoir, and that way I can flush the toilet. So I mean, I'm prepared because we get hurricanes here so much. But the toilet paper thing is new. Um, yeah, toilet paper is insane. I don't get it, and I don't need toilet paper. I can live without it. I got water, I got the swim pool, I got my shower, I got washcloths, I got Kleenex when I run out of the 3 rolls that I have. So I mean, can't even believe we're talking about this. Talking about how are we going to wipe our ass at the end of the world? Yeah, yeah. The grocery store had everything I needed except for toilet paper. They had dog treats for Risky. That's my dog's name is Risky, 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 and they had dog treats for him. Had canned goods and bread, everything I needed except for toilet paper. So I'm gonna try them on a morning after they restock, and hopefully they'll have it. A couple weeks ago, I walked in and there was, the toilet paper was thinning out, and I'm like, I really need a bag of toilet paper. I should probably buy one. And I'm like, get it tomorrow. Then I went to the grocery store the next day, and that's when it started. And I was like, what the fuck is this shit? Now that was like 2 weeks ago. Now, our grocery store, our local grocery store, their inventory is really good. You can tell they're being restocked and the trucks are running. You know, as long as the trucks are running, I think we're going to be just fine. But this toilet paper thing, I don't get it. I just don't get the toilet paper thing. Probably all rebel fans. We need to send the stormtroopers to safeguard the toilet paper and limit them to only one package of toilet paper per customer per day. I think if we did that, we could get it under control and stop the panic. I'm sure the media coverage isn't helping. The media is going out there and filming the empty shelves, and that makes people even more nervous. And there's some people here like that are plastered to the news cycle like 24/7. And Max did a live video this morning talking about, you get the sniffles or you get the morning sore throat and you're stressed out, and you know I'm still getting over being sick. I still have the sniffles a little bit. um, but I'm not plastered to that news. That news cycle 24/7 has got people full on paranoid, and I don't think that's helping. I think the 24/7 Corona news cycle is killing people. Oh yeah, I saw it, Max. But I saw it after you published it. I didn't catch it live. But yeah, I mean, it's one of my friends, they're like, "Oh my god, did you see this on the news?" And it's like all they talked about today, and I was like, "Do you have a life outside of the coronavirus?" Let me turn that off. That's crazy. All that backlight. I'm like, "Do you have a life outside of this?" The coronavirus, it's a virus. It's going to run its course and it's going to go away. Yeah. Yeah, I know. I don't get it. I mean, I was in the Boy Scouts. I went camping in the woods. I know I got lots of woods out in my backyard, and I got plenty of God's toilet paper out there out back if it comes to that. And the funny thing is toilet paper is not a life essential item. You don't need toilet paper to survive. I don't get why we're wiping out the toilet paper. It just doesn't make any sense. It's a luxury item. Um, but when people are hoarding and buying that crap up, the luxury item, then, if I need it day to day, I can't get it because everyone's bought it up. I don't know. Seems silly to me. Whatever. I'll be wiping with leaves out in the backyard if it comes to that. Maybe I should, it's probably all these environmentalists buying up all the toilet paper. And maybe I should start threatening to poop in the creeks and stuff and flood the creeks with my E. coli if they don't stop buying up all the toilet paper. I'll be killing the turtles with my poop if you don't stop buying the toilet paper. Yeah, no, I seen a lot of people buying a bidet. Some girl posted on Facebook the other day. She got her bidet and she like looked in the camera and goes, "Who knew it was a girl's best friend?" And I was like, "What are you doing with that bidet?" Oh yeah. I was like, "Man, you people are crazy." But whatever. We'll get through this. We'll get through this mess. I'll be glad when things normalize. The pisser is just when I'm getting this house almost ready to go on market. I'm looking around right now and there's very few projects remaining and I'm ready to go to market and sell this house. And you got all this crap going on. My guess is I was hoping to be able to put my house on the market in April. Not looking like it's going to happen. Everything's going to be shut down here for at least another month, which means I probably won't get my house on the market till May, but whatever. At least I'll maybe be able to start building Sabers and building my comms again. Who knows? And get ahead of doing something else besides working on this house. But it's been a crazy, crazy couple of weeks around here. That's for sure. But we'll be sanding sheetrock tonight. Tonight will be plastered in sheetrock dust. I redid the sheetrock in my bathroom ceiling, so I got to sand all that. Hey, Mike, good to see you. Yeah, I know. Who's going to want to come to a house tour, with all this corona going around? So imagine this is going to delay, at least temporarily, my ability to sell my house. But my house will sell once the market gets going again. The interest rates are low. This house is kind of a bargain. It's really close to downtown Wilmington. It's close to the airport. It's convenient. I can hop on the expressway right outside my house and I'm, 6 miles from the ocean and I can be at the beach, in 10 minutes in the morning. I can be downtown in 3 minutes. So it's just a really cool location, but it's almost like living out in the country because I'm on an acre of land, which I think my land is actually more valuable than the house. But at any rate, hopefully, hopefully I can get out of here. But there's a lot of insane stuff going on. Any of you guys got insane stuff going on in your hometowns? They just canceled school here till mid-May. Mid-May. All these parents that are home teaching. It's going to be some tough times, for the next month or so. But I think everything's peaked in China, and hopefully Italy's coming to the end of their nightmare. I heard Spain's got it pretty bad, whereas we're just beginning our nightmare here in the USA. Yeah, I think so too, Enoch Root. I think it to me, this, the American workforce, and I'm sure the worldwide workforce is just ready to, to spring back in and produce and make up for all the loss. Yeah, well, when they close them till May 15th here, might as well close them to the end of the year because the end of our school year is usually Memorial Day on May 31st. So what's the point of going back to school for 2 more weeks? So my guess is they'll go ahead and keep schools closed the rest of the year. And then, of course, right when school comes back is when our hurricane season is. So the coup de grace for us in Wilmington, North Carolina would be for a hurricane to scoot up the coast and strike us right as schools go back to session. because these hurricanes usually lay waste to our town, for a month. We still have damage here in Wilmington from Hurricane Florence. Whole neighborhoods were wiped out, and those still haven't been repaired. Still got a major highway just north of where I live, that's kind of got some temporary lanes and everything because the whole road got washed out. That road was on the national news when Hurricane Florence hit. It's still not fixed. So there's still a lot of damage here from Hurricane Florence, which is, a year and a half ago. And now we're coming up on hurricane season on the heels of coronavirus. So, it has everybody in Wilmington pretty much on edge. All the MyCom, I've showed them in a couple of my other live videos, Tim, but basically it's another company that I'm involved in. It's a unit and I invented it, but it's a custom, it's a cosplay soundboard. So you wear this trigger device on your hand and it's got 8 buttons, and each button is triggered to play different types of lines. And it's a way to communicate as your character without having to use a voice changer. And the way that the button board's set up, you can actually carry on a conversation with people. So that's MyCom. I'll put let me put a link on the Facebook page for MyCom. Hang on a minute. I'll put a link in the chat box so you guys can go check them out. That's a link to the Facebook page for MyCom. Was there something else, Max, that I said I was going to put a link to? Oh yeah, the thread for how to disassemble the custom saber shop. Stand by, I'll get you that link. Forums, MR and Hasbro conversions. I'll link this one because it's the same disassembly, even though this is the wrong version. Oh, no. Yeah. I'll just link this one. This one works. I mean, it disassembles basically the same way. So we'll put this link in here. Now this is a link for disassembling the Ray Jedi training version, but to be honest with you, it's the same hilt. The Ray Jedi training and the Anakin, it's all the same crap. They disassemble the same exact way. The Anakin version just looks a little bit different. But yeah, that's the thread that shows you how to disassemble. I think Shamim did that tutorial there too, Max. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Some of Shamim's stuff lives on in perpetuity. That's pretty awesome. Anything else y'all need links to? And if anybody watches this after the video publishes when it's not live, there'll be some links in the live chat box that you can go check out. If you click on show live chat, at the end of this video, certainly there will be these links that I posted on there. Number 1 to the MyCom sound rigs, and number 2 to the no links to my bank account. I don't put that out here. Although my PayPal, if you don't want to make donations, is tomtillman@gmail.com or paypal.me/Megtooth Sith Sabers. But at any rate, yeah, we're approaching about an hour into this stream, and that's about where I'm at with meetings and with these live streams. Probably limit them to about an hour. And I got sheetrock to sand. I want to finish this nightmare. I'm tired of living in a construction project, but soon my nightmare will be over. Yeah. If you find a place that carries toilet paper in Wilmington, North Carolina, let me know, because I can't find the damn stuff. I still have 3 rolls. We're not in a crisis yet, and I have other resources I can use to get toilet paper. But I was really kind of hoping to be self-sufficient. Um, I guess next time a catastrophe is forecast, I'll go out and stock up on toilet paper like everyone else. I mean, come on. All right, Tim. Thank you everybody for stopping in. And if you learned something today, that's awesome. Yeah, I know. I'll be covering sheetrock dust. But everybody build your sabers or build your sabers or get ready to build your sabers, because I'm sure all this nonsense will be over with soon and we'll all be back to normal. Don't wear the foil hats. That was sarcasm. Uh, don't wear the foil hats. We don't need the foil. The aliens aren't coming to get us. We're not going to die. Everything's going to be fine. Everybody maintain an even strain. I want y'all all to be safe. Social distance. Let's flatten these curves out a little bit, but hopefully we get back to normal sooner rather than later. And I know, foiled again. And you guys all take care. Hopefully I don't get any bad news on any of y'all or me. And we'll charge on, and this will all be over with soon. And in 10 years we'll be able to laugh about the coronavirus, but I'm sure that none of us will forget that it happened. It seems to be a pretty significant event in my life, and I'm 48 years old. Haven't had an event this significant since 9/11. So I think it's definitely a significant day in the history of the world, and we're all going to live through it. I think we're going to be fine. So everybody keep your heads up. Enjoy the time with your family for those of you that don't have to work. And I hope the government comes through for those that are out of work to keep y'all afloat, at least until this emergency subsides. And y'all are all in my prayers and thoughts. And, hopefully we can get back to enjoying nerd stuff and building lightsabers and my comms as quickly as we can. So may the force be with you all, or the dark side, as it were. Cheers. Cheers.